Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to the Hayseed night, where Eina is facing Gyof here. It was her, in fact, who dared brave the distance first, getting closer and closer to the fire until she was standing right in front of Eina. Her body was tensing up with anticipation for the duel, short as the combat would obviously be. She could have finished in a blink, destroying her adversary with a single strike. But her opponent moved in ways that she could not predict, deciding to sit down on a stone slab by her feet instead.
Are you hungry?
Eina's ears flew up. That foreign version of her mother tongue again. A whole phrase this time.
I'm sorry. You do understand Basaktat, yes? My Sirnar isn't very good, so I had a feeling it would be easier to talk to you like this. I heard the creatures of the West speaking it. I saw your boats docking once before back home in the middle of the night. I didn't say a word because I knew nobody would believe me, but I knew I would see you again sooner or later. I've been preparing my heart for this moment.
Eina remained immobile, but her eyes opened as she listened to these foreboding whispers. The storm was getting closer by the day, howling louder than ever. It was starting to make her queasy. A discreet motion in the corner of her eye brought Eina back to reality. She immediately switched back to her fighting stance as she caught a glimpse of the goat reaching for her spear, only to tumble forward and almost faceplant on the ground as the woman proceeded to hang a teapot over it. This was entirely too much for Eina's brain. Our poor, confused bandit pointed at the spear and then slammed the bottom of her hammer against the ground, demanding an explanation.
That's not what I'm sorry. I don't really intend to fight you. That was all a ruse. I'm not really a mercenary, and even if I was, I'm certain you could break all my bones without even trying. Sorry for deceiving you.
Eina's ears fell flat over her face. She must have had misunderstood her accent. The words had surely shifted too far from the Basaktet her father spoke, because the other option was that someone was actually apologizing to her for trying not to get killed.
I am actually a priestess on a pilgrimage. I'd never held a weapon in my life, but Barhans have a fame for being great warriors where I'm from. I didn't have the coin to afford a journey so far south, so I offered myself as a caravan guard to earn my keep. I was given a spear and a shield before leaving my town and told to uphold our reputation, but I've only ever known the way of the gods. All my prayers have been selfish pleas that I'd never need to use it, but I wouldn't have left my home if I didn't understand the risks I'd be facing.
As if the situation wasn't weird enough, the goat jumped to her feet and stood proudly on her little rock.
The sun shines brighter on a liar than a coward. So I was taught by the warriors of Akdemwiserat. So I will readily accept all the clouds I encounter on the way. I would really appreciate it if you would let me have this cup of tea first, though. Sorry.
Eina was honestly too dazed to react to her request at this point. She could barely even register what she was hearing anymore, for the amount of nonsense the goat was dropping by the minute was staggering. Such tripe. If the sun favored liars, Ader would be positively gleaming. As this brief thought returned Ader to her mind, Eina felt a twinge of something. Doubt, pain, guilt perhaps. She wondered if Ader would be fine with this whole situation. Would he stop her if he knew how she got a hold of all the food she brought him? Could he even afford to question where it came from as long as it filled his stomach? No, if Ader cared about any such thing, he would not have been living with Gyof to begin with. He never asked Eina where her dear potatoes came from either. It seemed obvious in retrospect. He must have had a hunch at least. There's only so much that can be discounted as naivety until it becomes willful ignorance. Her moment of introspection was interrupted by the rattle of the spear scratching the trampled dirt beneath them. 3 symbols abstracted beyond what was recognizable to Eina anymore. An empty rectangle with the bottom missing. A house? 3 straight lines. Eina turned absent-mindedly back to the fire once more, seeking the comfort of the flames she could actually understand. Instead, she couldn't help but feel slightly embarrassed upon realizing that she'd been out of it enough for the water to boil. Ignorant of Eina's silent turmoil, the strangely apologetic goat picked up her teapot and poured its contents in a worn down clay cup. Oh, worn down clay cup. Okay, cool. Then she produced a small salt rock from a pocket and added it to the brew. A warm cup of tea probably wasn't all that comforting under Eina's impatient gaze.
It says, welcomed in the temple of Hirub, tu apne tir jao. My name, that is, the seeress called me Jao, so that I would always keep the strength of my resolve, wherever the Hatsa may take me.
Jao took a little stick to the tea and began slowly stirring her mix, in a motion so patient and deliberate that it made Eina suspect of how genuine it truly was.
I was born to be a priestess, and a priestess I will die if you put an end to my life. But, I'm a very good listener. Perhaps I could share a little of my strength if you would spare a little of yours.
Either the ibex hadn't quite figured out that her would-be combatant couldn't speak, or she was speaking in a metaphorical sense, which was a little bit beyond the smith's capacity of abstraction. All Eina could tell either way is that she was on the receiving end of a sincere smile, the worst kind. Eina turned her face towards the cup she was being offered, tea with salt. A small alliance. Take a sip. Zhao's face lit up so brightly that it was almost blinding to look at.
Is it good?
The tea may as well have been flavorless boiling water with some leaves and salt in it. Zhao hadn't steeped it even remotely long enough. Besides, the water was too hot, which would have killed any of the subtle sweet cues Eina's sharp nose could pick from the watered leaves floating towards the surface. But this was not the moment nor the place to reveal her unexpectedly nuanced knowledge of tea preparation. It also wasn't a good moment to show the sudden red flush that crept onto her cheeks as she realized that she had drunk from the same side as her. Eina snatched the spear right off Zhao's hands and began scratching the ground as well, trying to channel her embarrassment into her handiwork. Even rushed and flustered, Eina's glyphs were carefully crafted, products of an age where there was time to take calligraphy leisurely. She drew symbols that her mind didn't remember learning, but her hands did. A half sun covered by the horizon, gemstones under the sand.
Sunset treasure. Or, a treasured sunset. Tessina, yes?
After a few moments of hesitation, Eina nodded guardedly. Having someone else read out loud what she wrote was always a slightly disturbing experience. It made her feel exposed, like anyone could open up her chest and read her heart if she lowered her guard for a moment. Because they could. It could really be as simple as that. But that was not a reality Eina was prepared to face. Zhao's vacant expression couldn't do anything to abate her torment, face hidden behind the cup as she let her eyes rest on the symbols Eina had drawn.
You have wandered so far into the steppes, all alone in the middle of the night, to attack a band of merchants that simply carry supplies to a starving city. Us mortals do this all the time. Hunger makes us desperate. Cold makes us lonely. I thought you were here to eat us, but you don't ever starve or feel warmth, do you? You were born to take these things from others, not to share them. Yet I'm sorry, I think you can tell this is wrong, deep down. The sun shines upon you too, even if it's just barely, but you are scared of it.
Enough! Eina sprung to her feet, baring her fangs threateningly. She'd let this goat mess with her mind for a while because she was curious, but that was it. She'd show her scared. As her teeth loomed over Zhao's face, frozen in fear, as her irate glare reflected the purple glow of her eyes on Zhao's own, she found herself paralyzed as well. Eina tumbled back, overwhelmed by something she couldn't quite name, for she had spent a lifetime refusing its existence. She swept away the only proof of her presence with a kick, sending the dust flying over the fire and the teapot. In the darkness, she picked up her hammer and made to leave. It took Zhao a moment longer to thaw out of her shock, but she still had the courage to call out one last time.
Tessina! Your fate may not be a sunset after all, but a sunrise! Keep looking for the sun, wherever it finds you!
The sun? What a joke. The empty steps watched Eina drag her feet back home, her mind stuck on the moment when she tried to attack Zhao. Once and again, its memory a loop she could not make sense of. Why did she stop there and then, when so many others before had begged for their wares and their lives before, without receiving an ounce of sympathy for their efforts? A revelation struck Eina as the city walls obscured the moon shining over her dagger. The stammering, the scared eyes, the hopeless smiles. She was just like... A marine breeze blew over the streets of Heirloom the next day, sweeping away some of the hot steppe dust that suffocated the city. Akazor was 2 moons well into dawn soon already, and it was coming to an end little by little. Are we back on familiar ground here? It was lunchtime, and Eina couldn't stop thinking about the previous night. No, we're not. Eina's still thinking about Zhao. She still couldn't understand why she couldn't bring herself to merely grab their wares and leave as usual. Maybe they weren't good enough and that was her merchant instinct talking. Yeah. No. For some reason, she could only think of Ader chiding her and giving her a disappointed look. So, if he didn't want the usual, that was totally his fault. Carrying a small mountain of uncooked misshapen potatoes, dried seaweed and several bulbous roots, Eina made her way through the corridors of her home in search of her apprentice. A cloud or two could be seen in the big blue sky, white and puffy, off to conduct whatever business a cloud could have had, so close to her home. The once great temple of Herob, the abandoned residence of a god that left in a tantrum after the Barhan rebellion. Not the most elegant farewell, but her father always said that gods need no manners, and that old geezer clearly knew all about that. The lack of manners, I mean. He knew a thing or two about gods as well, but he much preferred to spend his time cursing them for his longevity. No, there he went with his usual friends.
Burn the Siffy! This time we'll get him for good!
Eina! Second-class daughter of a hero-praying beast! Quit whiffle-waffling and do something about this! I know you're somewhere around here, you fusty lags! Ader!
Oh no! He's casting some kind of spell! Hurry up!
Eina just stared idly at the mob carrying her father away, off to a pyre that would forever magically fail to end the poor man's life. A question resurfaced in Eina's mind. It was Ader's, pondering about whether Eina's father was hated a little more or a little less for purchasing and desecrating the temple of a god that most people despised anyway. She took a moment to consider this as she walked into the sunlight. Sacrilege is kind of a global standard, I suppose. We are on familiar ground here, though, aren't we? Ader moping all by himself in the courtyard. And Eina attempts to offer him the food, which is not quite up to the standards of the food that he's been eating with Sepp. Yeah, he's not really into it.
Sorry, boss. I'm not hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still not eating.
You happy now?
So she is force feeding him.
If you like them taters so much, why don't you eat them? Now you're growling at me? What's your deal? I don't want your darn potatoes, Eina! Just leave me alone!
Aww. Oh yeah, this is where she goes up here again. Is this where Ilegrab finds her?
hiding from the mob, little Tess?
Yep. And then Illigrab, I think he goes to talk to Ader next.
Don't worry, I took care of them. It wouldn't kill you, though. Anyway, all that's left is putting out the fires.
Okay.
Did you two get in a fight?
Yeah, no. Illigrab is stating an intervention here, if I remember correctly.
He hasn't come back to his senses yet, huh? Don't you dare, you son of a wilted fur! Don't you dare, you son of a wilted fur! Beat face. I'll make a wardrobe out of you! Aw, bless your ears, Red.
Was he actually doing cartwheels?
You two worrywarts were made for each other. Let me handle this.
Oh yeah,
Ahem.
I remember this. Illigrab's talk with Ader.
Ader, son of Gyof of the Upper Field, you're under arrest!
Oh, Three, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I knew that it was against the law, but I couldn't.
For worrying a precious little bean like Eina, sweetie. Give us a minute, will you? Ader, did Gyof talk you into conning someone?
No, thank you.
Well, that... And you know that I'm only second to Eina when it comes to both.
All right. I met this girl and she booped me in what we did that night.
Oh! Say...
I know where fawns come from.
Good! Ader,
Say what?
I want you to know that
I'd never cheat on Eina.
You're not?
Of course not. I could never find me a doe like her.
Yeah, Illigrab is kind of not grasping what Ader is trying to tell him.
But kid, she's... All right. You're lucky I can't have you arrested. Yeah, of course. You're great.
Yeah, I guess if I remember correctly, Illigrab is now going to give Eina the talk about, you know, Ader needing, like, a partner, and Eina not being able to be that partner, and all of that.
Forget that stupid argument. I thought... Don't play the mute card with me. Eina, we aren't like him. Dear, have a life. Ader is no exception. He wants a farm. He wants a family.
Yeah.
Great! Then do me a favor and take him somewhere nice tonight.
Oh yeah, this is the part where they go out and get into trouble.
You have to make sure to have fun together. It's time to let him in or let him go. And you... Fair enough. Are you going to help me down or what? Fred, I swear I'd let the mobs have their way with you if it wouldn't make your daughter sad. I'd like to see you try! Oh, I'm sure you would. He's right, though. I shouldn't leave him hanging like that. Good luck, Eina.
And Eina's going to ask Ader out.
Yeah? It's not clean yet. There's some...
Yeah. Ader didn't realize that the red
What is it?
stain was actually
Yeah,
his
there
eye
it is.
patch.
Hey, wait! Can't you see the... And...
Some people would call that.
Well, darn, boss.
And so they
Who
made
the
up.
hell's that gnarly... Hold up. Curses. You know... Do you remember the day we met? Hey, don't... Do me a favor and make like you're as... But no matter how hard I try... Whoa! And as she makes her way... And she gets... Wonder who that...
Yeah, we get to hear about how they first met. Ader has a slightly different version of events than Eina does.
I got it. But you're the one person... And it ain't just you back. Now, Ela grabs word. Please, oh please!
Okay. So, I wonder which one we chose before. Did we just choose to comfort him? I think, knowing myself, I probably chose the comfort him option, right? Let's pry this time. While it was true that Illigrab was prone to babbling and fond of hyperbole, there was definitely something going on. Anything Ader wasn't crying about was suspicious by default. With no further need to pretend that she hadn't heard a word, she began going over the conversation she'd spied on. Ader said someone kissed him, but that was Ader always exaggerating stories, or so Eina told herself, coming up with a top 10 reasons why Ader couldn't ever possibly get a kiss. After all, Eina didn't believe that Ader could appeal to any woman, ever, at all, no way, nope, and most certainly not to her. But with the sole purpose of ribbing Ader, of course, Eina began making smooching noises as she hugged herself.
It ain't like she was, and I was. Look, what kind of buck would I be if I went around sharing that kind of stories? She may have get without a word, but that don't mean I can go hollering her secrets. I won't tell them to no one, much less a lady and much less my boss. It's personal, all right?
Personal. That word caught Eina completely unprepared. She was surprised that Ader even knew the meaning of that word. The yellow stag had always babbled any thought that had the misfortune of wandering through his mind, unprompted and unquestioned. Boss had been nothing but an odd formality between them. With a single adjective, in just a moment, Eina felt with complete clarity the wheels of time spinning, out to get both of them. Change was scary, and Ader an oddity in a world that shunned her. All she wanted was someone that wanted to have her by their side. How could that ever be a bad thing? I think we're back on familiar ground. She didn't need an answer. It was now time for Eina to go back to sulking, and for Ader to feel bad thinking that it was due to his outburst.
They got it all wrong. Eligrab, Mr. Bard, the patron. But all them city folks think they know better than shorthorns over yonder. I ain't no fawn. And woo! Feels good to get that off my chest. Boss, but that still don't mean you get to hear about it. Well, ma'am, I think I'm all talked out for today. Boss?
Okay.
Ha! Gotcha.
Yeah, now she's asking him out.
You want to come along?
Or, yeah, asking to come along.
I don't know, boss.
Gyof talking about toes?
What about your paw? Let me make this a bit easier for you. Hold up.
Yeah, we already know that they...
Sorry, boss, don't grab.
We already know that they end up going together and getting into trouble.
Not so fast, ma'am. I don't want another buck slamming a chair against my noggin. Got it?
Alright. So in they go. The lucky bastard.
Hey now! You promised you'd be quiet. I ain't joking around, boss. Do it for me?
Alright. And this is where the tavern owner or the woman recognizes Eina.
There you are, Ader.
Yeah, I guess Eina's caused trouble here before.
Wait,
Oh, right.
Eina. Oh, ahem.
There's no need for that, ma'am.
Gyof?
Well, that sure was a thing.
Yeah.
And they get their drinks.
Make that just one, ma'am. Oh, that's mighty kind. I said... Eina!
Yeah, Ader doesn't want to drink.
Get drunk?
Doth mine ear? Goodness gracious!
Evening, Mr. Bar.
I know what Eina! Oh, woe is...
She wants you to keel over and die.
Why? Is she too lazy to kill me herself? It was a... Cut
Hey, quit
picking on her!
I said quit that.
Me? She's the one...
That's because y'all make her mad.
Yeah, Ader's trying to make them get along.
Guards... just...
Hold up, boss.
No, she... I'd say... All this time...
Will you two quit acting like...
Well, color, it's been forever. What on the...
I'm fine.
You're as fine...
Sorry, Bard.
Yeah, this is where they start teasing him, isn't it? About being a horn eater.
Uh-huh.
I just got a lot of...
Yes.
What do you want me to do?
Worried?
Don't go say...
Why?
Say what?
I'm going to give... Do you want to sleep with... Is...
It's a gosh darn friggin'...
Wait!
That ain't the...
This couldn't...
Quit with the golem thing, but I needed to see her...
Yes.
Go tune your...
Wow,
And then there were two again.
Gyof, am I right? Sorry, boss.
What did I pick last time? I picked stay with Ader, right? Let's pick follow Gyof this time. If anyone could give Eina some definitive insight on Ader's problem, it was the man that shared a room with him.
You just did that on purpose.
Considering that Ader wouldn't miss her much in the state of despair he was in, Eina sneaked out right after Gyof. She quietly closed the door behind her, taking a good look at the labyrinth of shady streets that manifested itself in front of her eyes. Needless to say, the bard was nowhere to be seen. Keep looking. Her nose twitched slightly. She knew Gyof was around somewhere. Eina began trudging through the dark alleys that made up Slander District, following the scent of broken dreams and, time? Shrubs and deer alike avoided her wherever she went. The city knew her eyes. They knew the sound of her steps. Everyone would know if she grabbed a bag and left the city all of a sudden. Not for long, but they would know. And yet, she didn't know anything about those people staring at her. They had no names for her. They were just faces in the background. She wouldn't miss them if they disappeared. Eina walked around a corner and then nervously walked back, lost in the maze of her own undoing. Perhaps she knew the names of the people that felt the same way about her.
Boo! Eina! It's me! Your pal Gyof! Gyof, son of a guy!
Indeed he was, and now the thought of rendering the bard unable to speak another word for quite a while briefly crossed her mind. It was quickly followed by the image of Ader berating her for it. Plus, don't you want answers from Gyof anyway? Eina's little inner Ader won the battle. She put Gyof back on the ground, where he struggled to get his breath back. Losing the only person that was better than her at sneaking around would almost be a shame anyway.
What? That's it? Wow, you've really gone soft, shorty. So, what makes you follow a handsome rogue down a dark alley? Are you that heartbroken?
Eina covered her left eye with a hand and then shrugged.
Ah, Ader. Yeah, well, isn't it obvious? He's love-struck. Or love-lorn. Love something. And I'm ecstatic to hear that it's not for you.
Strangling Gyof suddenly became the #1 priority once more, until she realized that he looked as uncomfortable about Ader's ordeal as she did. Eina knitted her eyebrows together. She could barely believe what she was going to do. Gathering all her strength to quiet down her more violent urges, she pointed at Gyof and then shrugged again.
Me? You want to know what I think? Ugh, Eina, you can't just be nice all of a sudden. It's too weird. Ugh. Look, I just hope that his heart is hurting for a nice kitchen maid, not that spoiled little...
Gyof muttered something to himself. Then he took his hand to his chin, humming quietly.
Where did that dumbass even find the time to find a lass, though? I recall we went looking for you. I met a guy, and that's where I drop off the face of Dakna. What do you have, shorty?
Eina tried to think back to the day of the fair, the night she spent wreaking havoc, of course, and the next morning Ader lectured on her, as usual, for running away without him, but the day of the fair? She recalled Ader talking about some gazelle, and she remembered calling him a horn-eater, and perhaps all that secrecy was her fault somehow? But that really gave them no clues about her identity. Eina shook her head. At least she'd managed to gather some second-hand information from what Ader told Illigrab, so maybe they could figure something out together?
Okay, maybe he just didn't say she was a gazelle, but he surely talked about her. What would an idiot in love say? Poems. Her mien. Did he talk about the marks on her face? Or her hair? How about her eyes? Did he recite about 4 verses full of similes, specifically likening her irises to sapphires or the sea?
Nope.
Okay, I need to get in character. I'm a huge walking palm tree that likes girls. Okay, what do I want? Her bosom? No, gazelles don't have any of that. Her horns? Nah, you'd have noticed mine. Their fur is yellow, and so is he. Okay, that doesn't help. Come on, Gyof, you know gazelles better than anyone. They have a tail and... Wait, tail? That's it! Her butt! Did he talk about anyone's butt?
Eina didn't really want to recall all the times that Ader had spoken about butts, but she did it all the same. And there it was. Eina remembered perfectly Ader's pitiful attempt at pretending he hadn't been drooling, or some gazelle with an impressive butt face. And for a moment, dumb as it may sound, she felt a twinge of happiness upon realizing that Ader really trusted her enough to tell her any kind of secret, butts included. Eina took both hands to her hips and moved them away from each other.
A vase. Some kind of pear. A bigger pear. A ball. Heavy. No, that. Oh, can't you just write it?
Tired of the pantomime, Eina simply pointed at her butt. Gyof's face turned into an expression of pure, unadulterated horror.
He mentioned a gazelle's butt? Wait, there's more? He said she was strutting her butt? Oh gods, no! Not my sweet little Ader! Not my Sebs! No! That has to be illegal somehow! Oh gods, no! All right. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep your temper in check, Gyof. Okay. Remember when I said that I'd be fine with him being with anything but a golem? This is the exception to the rule. I'll give you my blessings, I'll play at your wedding, I'll do anything you... But I beg you, no, I implore you, keep her away from him, or else they'll... Oh, God, no! I'm imagining it! Look, I can't handle this. I can't look him in the face right now. I'm going home. Oh, gods, I have to tell Taylead. No, wait, no, he mustn't know.
A sudden concert of harmonic bells is the last thing one should expect in the slums, and yet a one Barhan band hurried in their direction. Gyof wasted no time.
Get your hands off my lad, fat ass!
What did you just say?
Eina lacked all of a sudden the mental capacity to point at the culprit hiding behind her. There was too much on her mind.
I don't have time for this.
The gazelle ran away, trying futilely to hold the bells that hung from her sash together so they'd stop ringing.
All right, that feels a lot better. Come on, Cabbage, we have to head back to the tavern. It's time for you and I to get back to work. Let us never speak about this again. Should be easy, Oh, by the way, I'm keeping this as a consultancy fee.
Gyof shook Eina's coin purse eagerly. She was kind enough to just bend his arm the wrong way instead of removing it from his body, since it wasn't her money anyway.
There you are!
Oh, this is a bit of a different scene than what it was last time. I mean, last time Gyof wasn't included in this, was he? I don't think so. Well, we'll see how this unfolds when Gyof is present as well next time. That was certainly interesting about Gyof and Sepp and Eina just now. And I loved the bit with Eina and Zhao. That was really nice. It really pays to play through this a second time and pick other different options, because you learn so much more of the story and of the characters and everything. I love this. So yeah, we'll see how this scene plays out with Gyof present next time. For now, thank you so much for watching and spending a little of your time with me here today. It was lovely to have you. Please remember to be kind to yourself. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you again next time.